Greetings. Welcome back to the Medical Weight Loss Show. I'm your host, Dr. Andrea Walker, family nurse practitioner, weight loss specialist, and IFBB Pro bodybuilder. Before we get started, please remember this episode is for educational purposes only and should not replace medical advice from your personal healthcare provider. Now, let's get started. Today, we're diving into something I'm really excited about: microdosing compounded GLP-1 medications. You've probably heard of GLP-1s like semaglutide and tirzepatide being used for weight loss. But what if I told you there's a whole nother world beyond that? A world focused on longevity, anti-aging, and metabolic health, not necessarily for weight loss. Now, I've talked about microdosing before, and honestly, there's two types of microdosing. But this particular episode is for microdosing as it relates to longevity, anti-aging, and metabolic health. And I'm super excited about it because you can't get this with just any GLP-1s, but you can get it with the compounded versions. So, for this episode, what does microdosing mean? When we talk about microdosing GLP-1s, we're not talking about standard dosing or weight loss protocols. We're talking about using very small, controlled doses, often around half of the lowest dose that you would use for weight loss, meaning the dose you would need to achieve benefits without significant appetite suppression or continued weight loss. These doses are typically compounded and often combined with ingredients like B vitamins, NAD+, or amino acids to further support energy, mitochondrial function, and overall vitality. In other words, these are truly personalized doses for your care. So, why is this a game changer? Besides what I've already mentioned, this approach is a huge win for people who, number one, don't meet the BMI requirement for brand name GLP-1 prescriptions. Number two, don't necessarily want to lose more weight. And or number three, want to maintain their results while supporting metabolism, energy, and cellular repair. Microdosing brings the benefits of GLP-1s into the wellness and longevity space, and that's where I think the future of metabolic medicine is heading. So, in other words, in a nutshell, those who have BMIs around 22, 23, 25, those who wouldn't necessarily qualify for the weight loss component of a GLP-1, but say they want the longevity aspect of it, or the anti-aging, or they want the cellular repair. They want to support their metabolism. They want all of those other benefits that GLP-1s provide. They can do the microdose GLP-1 version. So, speaking of, I'll be more specific about those benefits, which are GLP-1s improve insulin sensitivity and glucose control, even in non-diabetic individuals. They also reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. They support mitochondrial function and energy, especially when combined with NAD+. So a lot of the compounding pharmacies are mixing semaglutide or tirzepatide, the compounded version, with NAD+. However, you can also purchase NAD+ by itself. You can inject it a couple of times a week, once a week, whatever your provider decides, in addition to the microdose version of semaglutide or tirzepatide. Also, other benefits: it will give you some appetite regulation without extreme suppression, because remember, the dose is low. It will also provide improved gut health and digestion, better metabolic flexibility, meaning the ability to use both carbs and fats efficiently for energy. And then there's hormonal balance and support for overall metabolic homeostasis. So while the standard dosing is more so about weight reduction, microdosing is more about optimization and maintenance. So even those patients who are currently on regular dosing for GLP-1s but will eventually meet their goal weight and their BMIs will drop, let's say down to 22, maybe 21, whatever that may look like for them, then they can move over to the microdosed version of the GLP-1s. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the longevity and wellness connection. As you know, I own a practice in Central Florida, and it's basically a health and wellness practice. And we focus on anti aging, weight loss, longevity, wellness. So, this is like what I love doing. But you'll often hear microdosing marketed under the terms longevity therapy or anti aging support. And that's because GLP-1s do more than just regulate blood sugar and appetite. Systemic effects throughout the body, including the brain, cardiovascular system, and even the skin. As you know, a lot of cardiologists are actually promoting this, they're prescribing it, they're telling their patients to go get it. Of course, it works on the brain. That's how you're getting that appetite suppression, as far as that food noise that's working on the brain. Spas and wellness clinics have been doing this for years, but now we're finally seeing it integrated into evidence based medical practice, and I'm here for it. I owned a weight loss clinic in Memphis, Tennessee, and I was noticing that a lot of the spas were already microdosing. And spas are a little bit different than actual weight loss clinics. They tend to get patients whose BMI probably are already around 25, 24, just in general. And so they were microdosing already because their patients did not qualify. They didn't have BMIs of 27. And that's not the case for all the patients that walk through their doors. But many of their patients were wanting these medications. So what they started doing, and this was years ago, they started microdosing GLP-1s. So microdosing GLP-1s is not new. Those of us who have been using the compounded version, we are well aware of it. So, compounding still gets a bad rep, and I won't get into that. There's a reason why, and I'm sure money has to do a lot with that. But compounding GLP-1s, that's where it's at, in my opinion. That's me speaking. So, speaking of, I'll be honest, um, I'm excited now because expanding this approach will provide many other benefits. Not new science, it's just a smarter, more tailored way to use the tools we already have. So, whether you're maintaining your weight, focused on aging gracefully, or simply want to keep your metabolism strong, microdosing compounded GLP-1s might be the missing piece. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and share it with someone who's on their wellness journey too. And as always, thanks for listening to the Medical Weight Loss Show. I'm your host, Dr. Andrea Walker, family nurse practitioner. Until next time, stay healthy and stay strong. As always, don't forget to work out, drink your water, and make sure you meal prep. Bye for now.